Hello, happy Friday. I want to talk about the M6TR lasers, M6TRV and M6TRV Gen 2. I don't want people to confuse the Gen 1 that I'm selling with the old Gen 1 that other sellers were selling. This is the Bagheera edition, so this is the new Gen 1 and this is the new Gen 2. They're both VCSEL. They both have 4-in-1. They both come with the visible light as a bonus that you usually have to pay for separately with other sellers. This comes free with both versions, M6TRV Gen 1 and M6TRV Gen 2. Okay, so there was a previous version, let's call it Gen 1 version 1, and then Gen 1 version 2 that changed from EEL to VCSEL, which saves on battery, blooms less, it's more crisp. So I don't have that Gen 1 version 1. My Gen 1 is Gen 1 version 2, or the Bagheera edition, which is VCSEL, not EEL. Okay, it's a VCSEL. So even the Gen 1 version 2 that I'm selling is VCSEL. Okay, Gen 2 is also VCSEL, and those have the same exact call it lasers and lights. Okay, the difference between those two, that this one is a little bit more ergonomic. Why? First of all, it has a shortcut button and override, so no matter what option you are in on the knob, you press that override and it takes you to visible laser, visible light, or IR laser, IR light. Okay, that's the first difference. The second difference is, as you can see here, let me flip them over, in the knobs, right? Let me see if you could see that. Okay, so the knobs, you could see the Gen 2 has kind of like winglets on both knobs, makes it a lot easier to turn and twist when it's mounted on your rail, since it's usually a tight spot on the rail. And the Gen 1 version 2 is just a knob without winglets, right? It doesn't matter a lot, but it's a nice addition, right? So this is the only difference between those two, and you're paying for the more ergonomic design. It's slightly slimmer. You're not gonna see it visually, but when you measure it and touch it with your hand, it's slightly slimmer. Okay, let's weigh both and see how much they weigh. Check this out. The Gen 1 weighs 7.6 ounce, and the Gen 2 weighs 7.5 ounce. So about 0.1 ounce difference in weight, and as I said, it's slightly slimmer and more ergonomic design with adding the winglets. And what you're really paying for is the shortcut button they added. Okay, so that's the difference between those two. Okay, but you're still getting the visible light option, and you're still getting the diffuser for your IR illuminator. So if you're indoor and you want it to be more like a floodlight and spread out versus just focused, you could use this diffuser. Okay, and this just goes in the place of this rubber cap, and it connects on. You could remove it on and put it on and take it off. Okay, but as I said, I don't want people to confuse my Gen 1 Bagheera edition or Gen 1 V2 with the old Gen 1 that's EEL, not VCSEL, which VCSEL is a lot more efficient, saves a lot more on the battery, and it's a lot more crisp. It doesn't bloom as much, especially under night vision. Okay, so here you have it. You have the Bagheera edition M6TR Gen 1 version 2 and Bagheera edition M6TR Gen or TRV Gen 2, M6TRV, both of them, Gen 1 version 2 and then Gen 2. Thank you. Have a happy weekend.